Good afternoon, Finovate. I hope that woke you up. We are Minetta, Brook, and we're here to tell you a whole new way of looking at news that is going to change how news is consumed. Our product is called News App, and it answers the question, out of everything that's happening in the world of news, blogs, and Twitter right now, what should I be reading that affects my investment interest? Have you ever wondered when you looked at news that the same stories seem to be in the main page, the front page, and the headlines? That's because news providers use popularity and number of clicks to determine what's most interesting for the largest audience. And important information that affects you is often buried, particularly if it's still developing news. We use real-time linguistics to find connections within streaming text and quantify, prioritize, and render news based on what's written, not what others have already read. Our product, News App, launched on Bloomberg recently and is being used by the financial community to integrate news better into their daily workflow. Today, we're announcing News App on the web, newsapp.com, for limited preview to 100 users. But first, let's go take a look at News App on Bloomberg. The first thing that you will notice is that the application has a layout that is pretty familiar to financial professionals. And let's try that by looking at a topic, and let's say cancer, which is something that's pretty important, and see what comes up. And as he's typing, basically what's happening is that the News App engine is looking at news, blogs, and Twitter in real time to find interesting news activity around that topic. And right away you can see that there's quite a few topics. They're quite interesting in terms of developments in the world of cancer, pharmaceuticals, and so on. News App actually has their own proprietary score. What we do is we look at the topics within news, and we look for activity of those topics in the news, and then we score them and bucket the news based upon the topics and the activity that they have in the world of news, blogs, and Twitter. Not only does News App also find news around tickers, but it also finds news around related tickers and news activity impacting those. Now let's take a look and see how a user today, in the absence of News App, has to go about trying to find this. So let's go to our favorite sites, Google and Yahoo, and see what comes up. There's some interesting stories on Google, and let's see what shows up on Yahoo. Again, there's some fairly interesting stories, but they're pretty general, not particularly actionable, or in fact real-time for an investor or a trader looking to do something in real time. So let's go back to News App and try another example. This time, how about M&A? So when we type M&A, again, this is going in live in real time, scouring news, thousands of stories as it's coming in, and it finds some very interesting current news. So there's one about solar takeovers going on. There's some rumor about maybe Fox and Stars coming together somehow, and the inversion thing that has been recently approved. Some pretty interesting stories, again, prioritized with related tickers that you can go look at some more. Now, News App is constantly scanning the world of news, blogs, and Twitter for unusual activity around tickers. And again, it's based on what's being written, not what's already been read by others. And based on this, it actually produces a set of very interesting tickers that users can look for investment ideas or risk management in real time and get very good, interesting news. Not only does it look at across everything, but you can also organize that by all markets, or you can look for within a particular sector, or you can look even at your own portfolio. You can upload literally hundreds of tickers into your portfolio. So let's bring up a portfolio news and see what that looks like. Here we have preloaded George Soros's Soros Fund Management, and there's over 500 tickers here. This was uploaded very simply by going to the 13F filing, and users can upload their own portfolios. Now imagine if you had to go look for news around each of these 500 plus tickers, where would you be focusing on? Where would you think is the news activity going on right now? To solve that, we've created a family of scores around the news content generation and the rate with which it's being developed, or score and velocity. And sorting by those allows us to very quickly find the most interesting tickers within my portfolio that's getting unusual coverage either in the world of Twitter or in the world of news and blogs, which I can then use to determine whatever I want to do. So there's many more such features here. Now, I want you to stop for a second and think about what we just did. 500 plus tickers, 50,000 stories, and with a few clicks, in 10 seconds, we were able to find the top 10, 20 stories that really matter. Now, that is the power of real-time linguistics from News app. And the same features are also available on the web-based product. So let's bring up the web-based product for display while we wrap up. In finance, getting relevant information early is critical. Today, if you want to do real-time trading, risk management, or research, you're looking at the same headlines, same top stories that everybody's already read. With News app, you get very targeted news, in some cases news that is still developing. News with connections, abnormal news, not based on what others have read about, but based on what's being written. So again, we're Minetta Brook, and this is News app. We are bringing to you the power of 260 million topics that are growing by every second. Please visit us at the booth and vote for us. Thank you very much.